Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. I cheated on my long-term boyfriend. He ghosted me and got married in his country. I, 28 female, and my boyfriend, 32 male, were in a relationship for 6 years, dated for 2 years, and moved in together. He is a doctor and from India. He came to my country and works in a reputed hospital. He works long hours. Every day, he pretty much came home, have small talks, and go to sleep. In weekends, we would go to dates and spend time with each other. We hardly had sex once a week for the past 6 months. I brought that matter with him, and he apologized and said he is really having a hard time in the hospital and said he will work through it. 2 months before, I went to my hometown and he was against it. We argued and got into a fight nonetheless. I was dead set on to attend the wedding. It was a marriage of one of my childhood best friends. He argued about attending the wedding involving many people, may be a bad idea amidst a pandemic, but I really needed a break, and moreover, it was a small wedding of around 50 to 60 people. On the wedding day, I had some drinks, and I regret to say, but I slept with one of my former classmates. There were no emotional connections, just a pure physical thing. I regretted a lot on the next day, but I didn't want to ruin my long-term relationship, so I hid it from him. But somehow, he found out. We got into a fight. We were insulting each other. He called me the worst imaginable names to me. He broke up and kicked me out. I moved into my friend's place. I tried to contact him after giving him some space, but he won't respond to my calls or texts. I tried to go to his flat after a week, but it was locked. I called his friends, who told me he went to his home country for an emergency and was also informed that he won't be able to respond to anyone. After a month of trying to contact him, I was able to get a hold of him. He just said that his family was looking for a bride for him since a long time, but he said he was not ready for marriage. And when we broke up, he went to his home country and the topic of marriage was brought up again. But this time, he didn't even refuse. He just went along with his family and got married, and he wants to get settled in India. He even said that his now wife is also a doctor and her family owns a hospital, so from now on, he will be joining the same hospital and he won't return to my country. After that, he blocked me on everything. I am at a loss now. I know I cheated, I own it to that mistake, but he literally threw away our years of relationship and got married to some girl who he knew for 2 months. I have been crying mess. Please help me. The response from the community goes like this. Tough Gong says, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Sensitive Phil 8725 says, you threw away your 6-year relationship for a one-night stand. Get over it. I hope your ex is happy with his new life. Even if they don't love each other yet, at least they'll be comfortable enough financially and he doesn't have to deal with a cheating girlfriend. And on to the next story. Wife had an emotional affair. We'll end the marriage and I'll lose the kids. We've been married 8 years with 2 beautiful children, 6 and 7, whom I love with all my heart. I'm 37 and she's 34. Out of the blue a week ago, she reacted badly to a mess on the kitchen counter, which involved into this full fight about how she feels like I'm her maid. For context, I do the laundry, sometimes I cook dinner, I send the kids to school and enrichment because I want to, but this time I was lazy and didn't clear the counter. The talks we had after this fight ranged from her talking about her regrets, where she used to be really outgoing, but is now saddled with responsibilities, to talking about our love and sex life. Now I admit my fault in the marriage. I've never been good with showing love, though I do say it through words. I've told her how she's my rock, and how grateful I am when she pulled me out of a couple of depressive periods. As for our sex life, I have a pretty low one, but I do try to initiate. Got shot down sometimes. Other times, when she initiates, I'll need to react enthusiastically immediately. If not, she turns over and gets upset. Then it becomes me who's groveling for sex, which of course doesn't happen. Anyway, back to the fight. I acknowledged my fault in the breakdown and vowed to do better, and she just reacts like it's a lost cause. She tells me to do what I need to and give her some time. So I gave her space while making sure I'm more attentive around the house. Over the next few days, I start noticing her constantly on her phone. She's usually just watching Netflix, and also taking calls late into the night. In one of our talks after the fight, she mentioned, "What if I found someone else?" Putting 2 and 2 together, I confronted her and asked her if there's someone else. Of course there is. It's a guy she met online a few days before our big fight. He's from another country, and she hasn't even met him in person. I fought back the urge to react with anger, and the topic of ending the marriage came up. Over the next few days, we've had talks about the options we have. Today, she came to me with an option. Continue to live in the same house and co-parent the kids. It's a partnership and no longer a marriage. Explain to the kids what's happening to help them understand. I told her, "So you want me to continue living here while watching the woman I love give herself to someone else?" Of course, she reacted negatively. I asked if she was still talking to him after I confronted her, and she said yes. Some more background. Both of us came from broken families. I myself from one where my mom cheated on my dad and moved out when I was 10. We resolved to never have our kids go through the same thing, but here we are. It's this point above that made her emotional, because I want to show the kids that relationships can end and let them see how to gracefully exit one with minimal hurt to everyone around. We're still trying to figure this out. Also, my dad is living with me. I convinced him, with my wife's blessing, to move into my spare room and rent out his apartment so he can retire. He's pushing 80, healthy, and the kids love him. If I go, it'll probably force him to leave too. When we part ways, the kids are my biggest worry. I could kick her out. She said she will accept it if that is my decision. But she's the mother of my children, and I don't want them to see something so ugly. If it goes to court, then I'm sure to lose the kids because my country has a very strong law that sees children from divorced parents end up with their mother. I have been having anxiety over the last few days just thinking about not being with my children. I don't know what to do from here. Let's check in with the community again. Hollywood Dave says, "She is delusional if she thinks some random guy will be there for her after a month. I say do whatever you think is best for you. This is no way to live. You should show the kids relationships can end amicably. Kick her out. It is the best option. Good luck." Crix1009 says, "Yeah, I'm sure he will love having another man's kids to take care of. There are some women that don't understand that there are men who target married women. Bored, unhappy, dead bedroom. They target them because they love married women and they love the challenge and fetish of sleeping with a woman who is married. They become expert romantics who say all the right things. My sister was recently approached by a man like this. Problem with my sister, she's not one of those types that can't see through this, and her husband is a tank. So let's just say the guy who approached her at the bar didn't realize that wasn't the wall he was standing next to. That was my brother-in-law." One more comment before the update. Tarot Toss It Torch It 2 says, "Stop playing point counterpoint. It misses the big picture and sets you up for a pick-me dance. One does not suddenly drop all these hammers out of the blue. She's being cruel and laser focused on faults. Of course you're not perfect, but you'd likely improve iteratively in a healthy relationship with dialogue with mutual respect and vulnerability. She is facing severe disillusionment. It's common. That doesn't give her the right to trash you, your marriage, and elevate her happiness above everything else. Her ideas are insane and frankly appalling. Stop taking this personally. I know that's easy for me to say, but something is very wrong with her thinking. Get help. Set up a marriage counselor, ideally trained in Gottman methods. Meanwhile, get to the bottom of your needs and articulate them. I'd recommend full digital and financial literacy. I'd also expect she must immediately stop talking to this guy for you to feel safe and for you both to focus on the deeper crisis. If the marriage fails, at least it merits due diligence." Update. Thanks to all who commented and for all the support. I've stood my ground and asked her to move out. She got emotional for not being with the kids and was cut up about it for a couple of days. We're going ahead with the separation. No divorce papers will be signed for at least the next 5 years because we fear the courts might force us to sell the house to split the assets, which leads to the kids being uprooted. Our place is very near the school and there's no good reason to disrupt their lives. In the time we confirmed that the relationship is off, she continued to pursue a long-distance relationship with the affair partner. And I recently noticed she's already removed her wedding ring. I guess that's it, even though I told her the option to reconcile is open, but only if she breaks it off with the affair partner. Either way, the kids will stay with me, and we'll work out a schedule when she goes to stay with her brother. I've mostly grey-rocked her the last 2 weeks, because largely I can't find it within myself to care about her well-being at the moment. I need to focus on myself and the children. Before the move, we'll sit the children down to explain what's going on. Hopefully, it'll go well. It's weird, but I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. It feels like I have more to look forward to, even as I begin my life as a single parent. Thank you again to everyone. Never thought Reddit would be a place I could find solace and understanding. I will be okay. I'll make sure the kids are okay. Let's check in on the community for a couple more comments. Swansong Blue starts us off. Tough gig, OP. Your wife is delusional if she thinks that some internet random is going to solve all, if any, of her problems. She is in an affair fog. How she got there is a conversation for another day. But, in this state, she can't see reason. She won't be able to see the sheer stupidity of her actions. Your job now is to make her face the full consequences of her actions. No more La La Land. No more you do your thing and I'll do mine. Activate the 180 now. Total indifference. Don't ignore her, but don't pay any attention to her. No conversation, unless it's the kid's safety, welfare, etc. No passing time with her. Absolutely no jollity, nothing. Just meh, meh, meh. Watch her face. That will be its own reward. Oh, and get that 5 years to divorce shit out of your mind and well out of her thinking. It's not helping you and it's not helping your case. She will be running around thinking she's got 5 years test run on this guy. What the absolute F? Good luck. And our last comment comes from Scary S. Kleiss 9. Man, sorry it has to come to this, but think it better to seek legal advice regarding the house at least when you two agree about the terms of separation. I don't know how the family court there works, but still to stay legally married just for the kids to stay in the house, well, for the next 5 years, seems a bit odd. Believe there's some sort of court-assist mediation process which can be used for such purpose. Just felt to stay legally married for 5 years on paper somehow is obstructing you from really moving on, because legally, she is still your responsibility as you with her on paper, I suppose. I don't know. FYI, you might want to download a co-parent app to use. You got this, okay? Take care and good luck.